Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
I must be a furniture manufacturer, but we're getting into more architectural grade millwork. And I've been commissioned to produce a door that is 7 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and has kind of a composite core structure, so that the whole thing maybe weighs, like fully loaded, the whole thing's going to be under 200 pounds. Okay?
Okay.
We're talking a pretty thick thickness. I think it's going to be 5 inches or 5 1/4, something like that, to be flush with both sides of the wall. What I'm looking for is a center rotating, a center mounted pivot hinge that is free swinging, so that it can handle that. So free swinging from a center axis. So in other words, I want people to be able to pass on both sides of the axis. So this is like a large revolving door, if you want to think about it like that.
Okay.
I'm looking for a hinge set. We're dealing with a concrete floor at the base of the door and a solid wood header above us. And ideally, it would be great if the hinge had stops at the 90 position, at the 90 and the 180 position, so that they could keep it open. But that's not a requirement.
Okay. Yeah, that. There would be, so it's a pivot. We're going to call it a pivot.
Okay.
There would be no pivot that is going to give you an inherent built-in stop.
Okay.
And you do not need it to be self-centering?
No.
Self-closing? Okay.
I mean, it would be nice if it was. I mean, I don't know if you have that.
Then does it have to swing in both directions, or in just, clockwise and counterclockwise, or just one?
Ideally, it can swing in both directions.
Well,
a big
you could
constraint?
do.
I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, you could do. You could do a floor closer that's going to allow you to swing the door 90 degrees, and it will go in 2 directions, so clockwise and counterclockwise. You can have, inherently it's going to have a built-in stop in the sense that the mechanism won't go further than about 90. That would be self-closing.
Okay, so that's a good option. We don't necessarily need it to go all the way 360.
Well, it wouldn't with that idea, not at all.
Right, but you'd be able to open.
If you've got stops, it wouldn't go 360. So, what are we doing?
Correct,
Stops,
yeah.
or are we doing 360?
You'll have to forgive me. I don't know all my terminology here.
Okay.
I think we could do stops, but only at the ceiling. But that would still be kind of weird. It would be ideal for them to just have I was thinking maybe hardware is available to just have like a ball bearing kind of a push pin style stop that's integrated into the hinge hardware, so that the door can stop at a given position, but it's not like a fixed stop, if that makes sense. Like you can rotate past it, but if you rotated to that degree, it would stay right there. Period.
Yeah, I don't have any hardware that would integrate that. That would be not self-closing.
Okay, no problem. I guess we are kind of up against the timeline here, so I didn't. I'll just be frank with you. I found what I was looking for from this crazy German company, Fritz Jurgens. Are you familiar with them?
More than the next 100 people I stand next to, sure.
Fair. Anyway, they had something that was pretty cool for super huge revolving pivot doors like this that had stops at the 90 position and the 45 degree positions.
Okay.
And it was also self-closing. So I was like,
it's what I described. It's a closer.
Yeah, and it was able to revolve 360 degrees, which is kind of crazy. I have no idea how they did that. But
Yeah,
in any case, if we can just get like one of those features, that would be awesome.
well, I mean, why? I mean, okay, so you want to have the vertical axis of pivoting 3 foot off of the edge of one side. Great, awesome. 200 pounds, awesome. You want it to
Okay.
rotate 360 degrees. Great. If we stop there, I've got your hardware in stock ready to ship. I believe it's the pivot that you're already aware of from ABH. If you want to add stops, I don't have any way to kick that into a pivot. If you want it to have stops and rotate, as we've discussed, 90 clockwise or counterclockwise, you go with a floor closer. That's going to be an order of magnitude more expensive than the ABH 0370.
I see.
So, just that's where we are.
Sweet. Let's go with the first option. That's the 360 degrees, both directions. No problem. And that's the hardware I was already looking at.
Well, Jessica, before she transferred me, gave me a part number. I thought it was 0370. So somewhere someone came up with something. Maybe she wasn't transparent with you about that.
Yeah, no.
Client is looking at the ABH 0370. Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. I was looking at 0370.
Yeah.
And it just seems like the shape of that hardware is, longer on one side than it is on the other side. So I was thinking that I couldn't mount that in the center. Am I wrong about that?
No,
Okay.
you're not wrong. It's just the weight is, 40% of what its capacity is. It's going to, it's going to dance through that. If you wanted to buy an extra bottom arm and weld, you could balance that out, but it's just not necessary.
Okay, great. This says it's up to 500 pounds, good to go. It does say it's for 4 foot wide by 8'6" doors. What's the logic behind the constraint there?
Well, they're figuring the placement of the vertical axis of pivoting to be such that you're going to have X width hanging off of that pivot point. So you're well below that.
Oh, I see. So
if you put it 12 inches off the end of the door, yeah, you're violating that.
I see. So the
limitation.
4 foot width is not with reference to the 6 foot width of my overall door. It's just in reference to the pivot point and the end of the door.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is awesome. So this is definitely my hardware.
Yeah. Well, it's an option. There's variations on that theme, but I don't like the Fitzgerald you mentioned. But this is simple. It's straightforward. It's bulletproof. It's robust. It's in stock. It's inexpensive.
It's the simple solution. That's always the best solution. Let's do it.
Yeah. So let's actually make this conversation worth something to at least me in the sense of being able to help.
Okay.
What are you doing about the margin between the end of the door and the jamb? You've mentioned 5 inch or so thick. Have you tossed this into AutoCAD and so your margins need to be if you're not radiusing stiles?
Yeah, actually, our plan was to radius the jamb, not the door, because of the construction of the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was our plan.
Look at you. 19th century carpentry right there. I mean, I have not witnessed anyone do that since the 90s. I think.
Really?
I talked to a guy about it like a month ago that he was going to do that because he had a really thick situation. Now, if you look in catalogs, if you just do research, you'll find some really, truly amazing carpentry as to how they solved, the need for radius edges. Well, you can make your door edge convex or you can make your jamb concave.
dude,
that's awesome. You've got to send me pictures.
Yeah, I would love to. Let me ask you this: do you have any books I can read on this that you could recommend?
I have not books as much as I am aware of, and I can find it every time I look up Harmon, E.R. Butler. So if you went to butler.com, they're going to have somewhere in here, they have, like click on history and then scroll down and get to downloads. You might find something there. I haven't dug into their stuff in a while, but there's catalog cuts that they have of stuff that's just, Gilded Age, sort of carpentry. So that might be a place. I mean, I have a lot of old catalogs, but one place that you'll find references to this would be what we call a Harmon, Harmon, Harmon hinge, but it's not known today as just a pocket hinge or a pocket door hinge. And if you were to search that, do some research, you'll find really cool stuff.
Sweet. I always ask specialists like yourself for a book list, because that's where all like the really good stuff comes from, right? Yeah. I mean, the knowledge that's been forgotten, right? And it exists in a book, but like the book is esoteric. So it's a challenge just to find people who know the right books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so much of this skill is just totally lost. And, I think, what's crazy is that you can really make a strong business and stand out from the competition by just going back 50 years and, refreshing something that is just like a couple generations old, It's
great. You're absolutely right, because modern hardware, they're rehashing ideas that were thought up by really smart guys 170 years ago.
Right. And it looks fresh, and it's like super easy to install because nobody knows fucking anything anymore. So they have to like make it super simple. Yeah. But those details, like, radiusing the jamb, like I don't feel like people even think about that anymore.
It's an awfully, a gap on a 5.5 inch. It's going to be 5/8 at a minimum, if not 3/4 inch. I'd have to put it in AutoCAD, but I just built a 3.5 inch thick door a couple of weeks ago, and I left myself, I don't remember what AutoCAD told me, but probably 3/4, leaving me with an 1/8, clearance. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll probably end up doing solid wood on the edge of this door, as well as so that we can radius it and then radius the jamb, because we have an opportunity to do that too.
Yeah.
So it's I'm looking for a good result here.
Okay, so I have that 0370. I'm going to send you back to Jessica, who's going to enter the order, but I'll tell you now that I have it in stock. And you actually, you won't see this ever, because your door thickness, half of your door, you'll see a little bit of the plate at the top. I have it in stock. I've got one in stock in black, and I've got 3 in stock in satin stainless steel. So
cool. Whichever one's more affordable.
Oh, they're the same price. Black is the new oil rubbed, and oil rubbed was the new satin nickel, and satin nickel replaced satin chrome, which replaced polished brass, and now we're into the 80s. And then before that was, satin brass, satin bronze, antique brass, etched.
Let's do a black one. I mean, it'll be almost impossible to see anyway, but the door is going to be all walnut, and this is for a commercial bar, so nobody will see it anyhow. But let's go ahead and make it black.
Okay, I'm sending you over to Jessica. She knows what the routine is. Stand by one moment.
Rich, thank you so much for your help.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.